Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we will be understanding the ethanol blending, and we wouldn't just be reading the news out, but we will also understand what UPSC is asking from this topic. We will basically build notes around it for the mains examination so that you can directly use it in your answers, correct? So first of all, on the screen, I'm sure you can see the different articles that I have mentioned about the ethanol blending. Now this, if you can see, this is the PIB article, and everywhere the ethanol blending is a hot topic. So it becomes very much important for us as well to know and look for what it is. So first of all, let us see why is it in news. So basically, India has achieved its 20% ethanol blending. And since questions are being raised about its impact on vehicles, fuel efficiency and the environment. Therefore, first of all, understand what is ethanol. So, it is a renewable alcohol-based biofuel. This is its chemical formula, and it is mainly produced from fermenting sugarcane. It is then blended with petrol to reduce the crude oil imports. There are different types of blending that is happening. So this E10, E20, E85 and E100 are the different types, where the percentage of ethanol is mentioned as the number over here. So right now in India, we have this standard, that is E20. 20% ethanol plus 80% petrol. However, most of the other countries or some of the other countries use E85, that is 85% ethanol and 15% petrol. Now, before we jump into making the notes, let us see what has UPSC asked in its mains PYQ. We can see that here it has asked about the 50% of its energy needs to be generated from renewable energy by 2030. So this is a target, and they're asking how can we meet it. The next question, they're asking about the affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy to achieve the sustainable development goals. Now in here, our ethanol can play a very important role along with the solar, wind and other biofuels. Understand, and that is the types of ethanols. You can see here I have used 2G as a marker for so here you can see I have used the word 2G ethanol. Now what does this 2G ethanol means? Let us see. There is 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G ethanol types. Now basically, just like we have it for our internet, the generations, these are the generations of ethanol. The first generation basically is ethanol produced from food crops. It is the ethanol produced from food crops such as sugarcane, maize and damaged food grains. The 2G ethanol here is the ethanol produced from agriculture waste like paddy straw, rice husk and bagasse. So basically, in the first generation food crop, there is always a debate about this hindering the food security. So the 2G ethanol talks about waste, right? Waste as in converting the waste into fuel, correct? This will also help with the issue of stubble burning, right? Exactly. Now the third generation ethanol, it has the high future potential but is still expensive, and it is produced from algae, correct? Now the fourth generation ethanol uses advanced biotech and it helps in carbon capture. Exactly, it does. So, but this is currently in the R&D, that is research and development stage. So therefore most of the talks are always around 2G. Right, now let us see why India is promoting ethanol blending. It is because India's imports is as high as 85% for its crude oil, making it vulnerable to global supply shocks. Secondly, ethanol burns cleaner than petrol. Therefore, it reduces carbon monoxide and hydrocarbon emissions. It also supports India's net zero by 2070 commitments. Now, this 2G that we learned here, this 2G ethanol produced from agriculture helps create circular economy, because the waste from the agriculture is used here in the fuel generation, correct? So it helps promote circular economy. Now there have been few government initiatives, so whenever we are writing answer, explicitly asked or not, if it is a 15 marker, we can always include the government initiatives. For this topic, that is ethanol blending, National Policy on Biofuels 2018 is one of those initiatives, and here the aim is to expand the feedstock. Number 2 is E20 rollouts. Now all that we are looking for and all that we are so much interested in this news is because that E20 has been now rolled out. That is, here it is written that we have already achieved the E20 blending targets. Now PM Jeevan Yojana, or you can call it JI and VAN, Jeevan Yojana, it promotes 2G ethanol. I have told you now that 2G will be talked about the most. Now with that, there are challenges in this aim. Number 1 is it is a water intensive feedstock. We know that water is already a very much critical resource, and nowadays with the advancement of AI, fresh water is always in the crunch. Therefore, the another challenges, diversion of feedstock may affect the food security, and therefore we have seen that 1G ethanol is not ideal. The next one is the regional imbalance. The regional imbalance, as UP, Maharashtra, Karnataka are the hubs, and therefore supplying it from these hubs to various parts creates logistical problems. Now since we have talked about challenges, it is our duty to look for the way forward and the suggestions, right? So we will look at the suggestions from the lens of short term and long term ones. So in the short term, we should expand E20 fuel compatible infrastructure across the country. We should strengthen the quality standards and monitoring. Then we should also raise public awareness and support farmers who are producing the feedstocks to be used for the fuel generation. Now for the long term, we must diversify the feedstock. So this actually solves our problem of diversion of food stock away from the food. Therefore, we must diversify it by including bamboo